The reality is that in our current world, with so many conflicts of interest, with so many big business interests flooding into the medical and science arena, that what you're seeing to a large extent with many evidence-based medicine practices is in fact corrupted medicine and science. The money has flooded in, and the reality is that anybody who is funding a study, which invariably is always a business interest, a pharmaceutical company, for instance, can in fact ensure that the results are manipulated and statistics are played with to show a favorable result. And our medical journals, the mainstream media, are completely in on this because they are funded by the same vested interests. And in fact, if there's ever a study result which is not favorable, you wouldn't even see it. It would not be published.
Hey, Christopher.
Yeah, boss, what's up?
What do you think about making some of our articles open access?
That's a good idea. Make the articles free to the public so that anybody can appreciate the latest scientific advancements. I like it.
Of course, the author would have to pay some kind of publishing fee.
Yeah, okay, that's reasonable. What, like a couple $100?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe $11,000.
What?
Yeah, $11,000, and we put your article on our website for anybody to read.
Why so much?
Oh, you know, all the costs.
What costs?
Reviewing the article.
Yeah, we don't pay reviewers. We guilt them into it because it's good for science.
Okay, what about formatting?
Your 12-year-old niece does that for us.
Well, we gotta publish it. That costs money.
It's a PDF on a website. Kaylee does it in like 2 seconds.
Kaylee?
Your niece.
Oh, yeah.
Besides, who's going to be able to afford this?
Oh, people will pay.
Why?
Because they have to.
What do you mean?
Researchers have to publish in order to keep their jobs or get promoted, and we're one of the most prestigious journals around. People will pay.
So it's extortion. Here at Nature, we're doing crime.
Oh, Christopher, don't be so dramatic.
So let me get this straight. You want to charge researchers $11,000 to publish an open access article, thereby ensuring that only researchers with the most money get to publish an article, which defeats the purpose of having open access articles in the first place.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is guaranteed to be profitable because researchers' livelihoods are dependent on a predatory system that values publishing in high-impact journals.
Hey, you got it.
This, of course, is insane.
It's academics, baby.
Peer review just sees establishment versus non-establishment. It will lock in a terrible idea for 40 years. And it will stop somebody coming from outside. It will reapportion credit. So suddenly you do a lot of work and somebody, this is this thing I said about gripe and swipe. We notice one flaw in your work and we take the entire corpus that you've produced away from you and we publish it under our own name. I can tell you a dozen terrible stories of peer review where people have confessed to using peer review as a weapon against their colleagues, particularly younger colleagues. And to simply say peer review, it works, bitches, holy cow. How can this be?
That actually plays back into that story about the droplets and the aerosols, because you've got a situation where in the 1930s they'd got the photography up to a standard that meant they could actually sort of start to observe these things, and a lot of work was done by engineer William Wells and his physician wife Mildred on what was really happening in terms of droplets and aerosols and how big and how far and how long they'd stay in the air, and they did amazing work that was dismissed by the CDC director, Alexander Langmuir, at the time, because he was thinking this was a threat to germ theory, the same old problem. This sounds a bit like miasma. So I think the work was in the 1930s, but it wasn't until the 1980s, late 1980s, when Alexander Langmuir retired. And in his retirement speech, he said, I got it wrong about those two. That actually their evidence was really good and we ought to be looking at that properly. So people started to look at it properly 50 years on.
So I got it wrong. All the time I was in power, all the time I was decision maker, got it wrong.
Well,
now I'm retiring. Now I'm retiring. I'll admit it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is your book here.